Y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. Y'all, I thought it would be fun to do a quick TBR, so I tell you what, y'all go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I will get myself and these furry felons settled down somewhere, and we'll talk about some books, okay? So I'll be right back. All right, y'all, let's talk TBR. I got the felons settled, sort of. Furry Felon 1, little Daisy, is settled over there. I think she's really settled, but Beauregard has been very naughty, so he's all antsy because he thinks he's in trouble, so he might or might not end up over here visiting with us, so we'll see. But let's jump into this thing. And y'all, I want to start with a book that I don't actually have in physical copy. And don't get all excited thinking that I've like matured to the point that I'm gonna stop buying books that I can get on like Kindle Unlimited or something. We're not there yet. I just want to talk about a book that is about to be released and that I'm gonna get the day it comes out and start reading probably right then. And that's Funny Story. Is it Funny Story or It's a Funny Story? Funny Story by Emily Henry. Y'all, Emily Henry is a 100% gotta read it every time she releases something for me. Not releases something for me, but for me, she is a gotta read it every time something comes out. So Funny Story, I've no idea what it's about, but based on every Emily Henry book that I've read, I believe it is going to be female main character is heartbroken, meets male main character who is either also heartbroken or non-threatening in some other kind of way. Like he's grumpy sunshine, or he's best friend's brother or brother's best friend or something. So it'll be broken-hearted female main character with non-threatening male main character. They're friends. For some reason, they can't be together for whatever reason. Either there's a geographical challenge or something, but they overcome it, and then something bad happens, and then somehow in the end it all turns out fine. So knowing absolutely, y'all, I didn't even really know the title of the book. So knowing nothing about Funny Story, that's my prediction, and I'm gonna love it because it's Emily Henry and I love her. So that's book number 1 on my TBR. I didn't even tell you. So this is my like spring into summer TBR. So that's book number 1. Book number 2 is pretty much the opposite of that. Well, kind of the opposite. It's the same in that it is a not released yet, but I'm going to get it the minute it comes out. And I'm going to get it much like the Emily Henry book. I'm going to get it definitely in physical format, like either hard copy. I don't know if I ordered hard copy or if it comes out in paperback right away. But hard copy, like physical copy, as well as an ebook, so that I can devour it right when it comes out. And that's the second book in the Butcher and Blackbird series. And I think it's Lark. Hang on. Leather and Lark. Y'all, I might actually end up getting that one 3 kind of ways: physical, ebook, and audio. Because y'all remember, I made it about 4 pages into Butcher and Blackbird before I had to switch over to the audio because I needed to hear the Butcher talk to me. So we'll see how it goes. But so those are the first 2 books on my TBR, which I'm going to forget. That's why I had to go ahead and talk about them, because I'll get all excited about all these books and forget about them. So if we're counting books, probably add 2 onto whatever my book count ends up being, because I'm going to forget to include those. So let's jump in. I have a bunch of physical books in front of me. And we've probably hauled all of these at some point. The Hating Game, I got this recently, and this is a maybe enemies to somethings. I don't know if they end up being lovers. I'm assuming it's a rom-com, so they got to end up being something. But these 2 work together, and they work at a company where something has happened. I don't know, something happened. And like her side of the company is feuding with his side of the company, and he works for somebody that's like even with her boss. So like they're executive assistants, I think, to people who are like even leveled but kind of feuding executives. So, and they play the hating game. So we're going to read this. And y'all, let me preface all of this by saying this is going to be like feel-good, sappy, love story heavy, because I finally finished Iron Flame. And y'all, I'm a little bit shredded. let me tell you what, no spoilers, absolutely zero spoilers. But we talked while I was reading Iron Flame, and y'all remember about a quarter of the way into it, I had to take a break and like read some rom-coms because it was killing me. Let me tell you about Iron Flame. So you ever have like, I don't know, a gaping wound, and when it finally starts to heal over, you're like, oh, that feels really good. Let me rip it open and have it be a gaping wound again. That's Iron Flame. And if you haven't read Iron Flame, or if you've read Fourth Wing and you're fixing to read Iron Flame, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you've read Iron Flame, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're going, yes, girl, yes. So I finally made it through Iron Flame, and y'all, that book is as close to being Kristen Hanna'd as you can get without reading a Kristen Hannah book. It's not, for me, it is not quite Beartown because it doesn't have a Benji Ovich. Like, there's not a character in there that I feel like my life is less because, like, my life would be less if I didn't have them in it, like I do Benji. But I'm really enjoying that series. So I know, y'all know I'm way over the top. Stop it. Like if it's a bit much for you, take a break and come back because it's not going to get any better. But I finally finished Iron Flame. And so now I need to heal my brain with some vapid rom-com. So we're going to start with, I mean, not necessarily start with, but we're going to read The Hating Game. And then You Deserve Each Other is Sarah Hogle, who wrote, we talked about this not long ago, a Christmas book that I loved, and it was silly and sappy, and it was the holiday spirit comes in human form and visits himself upon this just absolutely, I mean, she was heartbroken, but she's also just like spirit broken person, and she and the holiday spirit have to like fake date, and they go through this whole thing, and it is a just fabulously cheesy holiday romance. I loved it. It's the only thing I know about Sarah Hogle, so that could be the only even partially almost good book. I might not even be a good book. I might have just liked it. But based on that, I decided that I'm going to read You Deserve Each Other, which is these two are engaged. And she decides she wants to break the engagement, but if she does so, she's going to have to pay for like all of the expenses that they've gone through for the wedding so far, and she doesn't want to do that. And she comes to find out that he wants to break the engagement as well, but he also does not want to pay for the wedding expenses. So they try to make each other miserable enough to break off the engagement. So they deserve each other. I love Abby Jimenez. Y'all, if you've read Abby Jimenez, you love her. This is Just for the Summer. No idea what it's about. It's something happening just for the summer. She is like Emily Henry. She's not a like read immediately for me, but she's definitely a read for me. I love her writing. I love her characters. They're very engaging. So if you've been around for a minute, you know that I get a little like this about characters who virtue signal. Now, it is absolutely, to my way of thinking, it is possible to write characters who are virtuous and socially conscious, and that doing like socially virtuous things works with the characters and works like with the book and works with like what's happening in the book. And then there's a way to write characters where you just sort of jam in these like virtue signaling things on your characters. And it doesn't make sense with what you've told us about the characters. That drives me crazy. I enjoy a character who is socially aware and who does socially conscious things if it makes sense with the character. If not, it's virtue signaling and it drives me crazy. Abby Jimenez writes great characters who are not all of her characters are socially aware, but she'll have some that are. And the things that they do, first of all, don't like shove it down your throat, and it makes sense with what you know about the characters. And I love that about her writing. So this, I'm guessing, is going to be flashback. I was going to say some kind of lakey thing, which caused me a flashback to, was it Part of Your World, Part of Their World, Part of His World, Part of Somebody's World, which is one of her books, I think. Very good book. And it's set in Minnesota. So I don't know if she's from Minnesota, and I'm not going to read right now and tell you, but Land of 1,000 lakes, 10,000 lakes, land of all the lakes. There are all the lakes here, which is why our state bird is the mosquito. But I'm guessing this is going to be set somewhere in Minnesota. So I just looked. I was going to start reading that to see if she's from Minnesota, but I said I wasn't going to, and I'm not. Abby Jimenez, just for the summer. How many lists, how many TBRs has Icebreaker been on? SPAC. I really am going to read it this time, y'all. Still don't know what it's about. I'm guessing it's some kind of hockey player, ice or figure skater romance. And that's all I know because I saw the cover. But folks like it. My friend Shelby said she liked it, and Shelby will tell me if a book is not good. So, and I trust her. So although she told me to read Fourth Wing, child, you're on my list. Anyway. I'm guessing, I've guessed this before, I'm still guessing that there's some kind of feud for ice time because there's always a feud for ice time between ice skaters or between hockey players and figure skaters. And if there's not, then the person who wrote this doesn't know ice politics because y'all, the politics of ice. So those. Things we hide from the light, Knock 'em Out, Virginia. Y'all know I love Lucy Score. This is the second book in the, I think it's the second book. This is either the second or the third book. I'm going to read the second book, and I've also got so this is the pink one. I've got the purple one over there. Things We Hide from the Light. And I think, hang on, Things We Never Got Over, I think is the first one. Things We Hide from the Light and Things, yeah, I don't know. I thought I knew it. I don't know it. Anyway, so Knock 'em Out, Virginia is a teeny tiny little, like, quaint little town where our main character, is it Naomi? Is that, y'all, it's been a while since I read Things We Hide, nope, not Things We Hide from the Light, Things We Never Get Over. But our main character in that book went to Knock 'em Out to help her. Tina is her sister because our character is not Tina. Ends up in this town because her troubled twin sister is in trouble. So she goes, of course, to help the twin sister and ends up in this shenanigans in this small town. So she ends up in shenanigans with the Hottie McHottie in the small town. And I think, does he have a brother? So maybe this is about the brother. I don't know. But Lucy Score tends to do that thing where her series follow like a group of people, but you don't follow like the same couple from book to book, like in freaking Fourth Wing where you follow the same people. We're leaving that alone. We're moving on. I'm healing my heart. We're not going to rip that wound open again. So I'm guessing this is following maybe the brother. Wasn't the brother? Anyway, I'm going to read this. I'll tell you. I will tell y'all. Love in Other Words. I know, this is another one that we keep talking about we're going to read. Y'all, I am on a bent to like Christina Lauren because I read, this is going back to that same Christmas that I read the Sarah Hogle book. I read, what is the Christina Lauren Christmas book that everybody loves? In a Holidays, y'all. I didn't hate it, but I felt like, I remember. So, and we're not going to rehash, but it was like it was like a Groundhog Day at Christmas. And I just felt like it was two sort of parallel stories running alongside each other that never really intertwined. And there was so much more that could have been done with it. And I was like, is it because Christina and Lauren are two people, but like, and they don't write well together, but y'all, they've written like 97 books. So everybody loves them. I'm going to read this book and I'm going to like it. Love in Other Words, I believe is it a second chance romance? I don't know. But it's Love in Other Words. And I got this. So there's a different cover, but I got this cover because I thought it was really cute. I think this is the cute cover, which is going to make it better. Y'all know how I judge a book by the cover. So I'm going to save this one for last because y'all are going to judge me. I should have saved this one too because the Housemaid, I had to look at it because I just almost did it, is one that I keep putting off because I want to call it The Handmaid, like The Handmaid's Tale. Housemaid, Frida McFadden. So I have The Teacher by Frida McFadden. And somebody told me that that the teacher's good, but like that this is really good too. And this is an earlier one by her. So I'm going to read this. And this is on audio on, what's the one that used to be Scribd? Everand? It's on Everand. So I might read it and listen to it. So The Housemaid, I'm going to look at it every time I say it to make sure I say housemaid, not handmaid. The Housemaid, something about a character, like our main character, I think it's the main character, goes to be a housemaid and there's a locked room at the house. That's all I know. So, and obviously shenanigans ensues because well, I mean locked like there's some locking in of the room. So I don't know a whole lot, but people love this book. So that, and there's like this one, and then there's another one, and then there are other series by Frida McFadden. And I've heard people talk about how Frida McFadden is an absolute, like, as soon as like they love her so much, it's a 100% when she releases a book, they read it, like Emily Henry for me. So I'm wanting to like that a lot. I'm wanting to. It's not even English. I'm definitely going back to the Mindf. I've still only read book number 1, so I don't even know what book number 2 is called. I don't know what book number 1 was called. Was it The Risk? Book number 1? Loved it. The only way I was able to stop, and this was one of those, the random picker picks my books. I did just put that on my shoulder like I was going to rack it and squat it or something. Y'all stop judging me. The random picker picks my books, and it was an under a certain number of pages books. That's how I ended up picking the first one in this series to read. So I had to stop there, and fortunately, I was reading it on my Kindle or my little like handheld device or something, and that was the only one that I had downloaded. So when I got to the end, y'all, the cliffhanger, seriously. When I got to the end of book number 1, I didn't go immediately into book number 2, which I 100% would have had I been reading this hog, because obviously book number 2 is like the Risk. Did I say that? The Risk? That's book number 1. Book number 2 is the next page. I would not have been able to stop. I would have not stopped and lied to y'all, and then I would have felt guilty because y'all, I'm not a liar. So we're going to read book number 2 of the Mindf series. Allie Hazelwood. Love. Now, y'all, dang it. Now I'm thinking, was Allie Hazelwood the one that wrote the books about Minnesota, not Abby Jimenez? So now I don't know if this lake is in Minnesota anymore. I don't know. I'm going to have to read and tell you. I don't know. But Bride by Allie Hazelwood, something about werewolves. I really know nothing about this, but I think my friend Allie is reading this or was reading it, and look at how cute the cover is. It's like black on black. I love that. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with like different like reliefs of the same color. I'm stalling because I really don't know what this is about, but I'm guessing it's some kind of fantasy thing. Passionate and witty, and oh, that's just a review. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Vampires maybe and werewolves. I don't know. I'll let y'all know. But I do know that I love Allie Hazelwood. Even though I don't really... Yes, love theoretically. Yes. Okay. Bang bong. All right. I'm going back to Abby Jimenez is the one that writes Minnesota. And Allie Hazelwood is the one that writes Strong Women in STEM Fields. I think. Is that right? I'm going to look. Hang on. Y'all hang on a second. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The Love Hypothesis, Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, yes. Those are all books that are about women in STEM fields. So I knew that I loved both of these, but Allie and Abby, they get mixed up in my head because they're my friends and they have like similar first names. So it's going to be interesting to read her writing a character who's like, I don't know what's happening here, but she's apparently the bride of something. I'm going to read it and I'll let you know. All right, let's get into some stuff. We've talked about this book. We talked about it we've talked about all these books, but we talked about this book when I got it. The Day of Fallen Night. When I got this, I had no idea anything about it other than it had something to do with Priory of the Orange Tree, and it's beautiful. And I bought it at the same bookstore where I bought Priory of the Orange Tree. And I don't know why, but when I go, I can't help but buying these books at that store probably because they're so beautiful. So like when I see them online, I'm like, that's a million pages. I'm not going to read it. I'm not buying it. But then when I see it in person, I get ensorcelled by the cover and I buy it. So here's my thought. I'm either going to start A Day of Fallen Night or Priory of the Orange Tree. Now, this, from what I understand, is the prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't know why I keep saying that whole title, but isn't it fun to say? Take a second and say it. Right? So I might start that one because it's fun to say, but you can say A Day of Fallen Night, which is the prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree, and you get to say them both. So I'm going to read either this one or that one. And y'all, I'm not going to do like I did with Iron Flame, where that was 600 and something pages, the physical book, and it was 884 pages in the Kindle book. This one is, oh, well, that's a bunch of after stuff. Hang on. I get nervous looking at actual book pages, like when you look to see the last page of the book, like the page number, because I'm always like, oh my God, what if it says like, and Roman killed Philanthra and they both, you know, whatever, the kingdom was lost. Like, you just freaking spoiled a 900-page book for yourself. Nice job, slick. So I'm super, super afraid that, like, I'm going to see something on the last page of the book that's going to totally spoil the whole book for me. So I get nervous looking at... I know, y'all, seriously, I know. Imagine being inside this head. Okay, I'm thinking it's 846 pages. It's a lot. So I did read Iron Flame, not all in one sitting, because, I mean, I'm not a freaking robot. But, like, I read it, and then I took a break when I got my heart a little bit, you know, ripped open. But then I continued to trudge through it. I'm not going to do that with these. So I might start either this one or Priory of the Orange Tree, and then read, like, I don't know, 300 pages like a regular book, and then take a break and read some more. I'm not going to DNF it. I might just DNFR in it. So even if I don't finish it like right now, I will. Like I might read bits and bobs of it. So either Day of Fallen Night or Priory of the Orange Tree. So there's that. Because I don't have enough stuff going on here, I need to add a freaking tome to the whole mess. Leigh Bardugo. Y'all, I love her. I know I will love this. I know I will love this because I love Leigh Bardugo. So, and we look at these before? Take a second. Is that focusing? Just beautiful. How can you not? Like, how can you not love this book? Bo just heard my voice and like jumped up. He's so excited. He's like, what is happening? Probably thinks his daddy's coming home and that he's going to get in trouble because he's been so naughty. So, I don't know. I believe this is set in the 1700s, Italy, maybe? I'd know nothing about anything other than that we know that a familiar is like an animal or something that does witch's bidding. I'm going to stop talking now. I don't know. All right, I have two more. From Blood and Ash, if I decide, now I realize this is probably fantasy as well, some kind of like high fantasy. This is 100% fantasy. If I decide to get back into some kind of fantasy, I will read this. And I'm trying to think if I know what this is about. So here's how I ended up getting this book. Y'all might know this story. If so, sorry. When the intern and my mom took me book shopping for my birthday, there was a beautiful book by Jennifer Armentrout. And it was literally like number 7 in this series. And I wanted it. Worst thing about it was I wanted one. Yeah, that was a random reference to a Bruce Springsteen thing. Anyway, worst thing was I wanted one. And y'all, it was like book 7. I didn't even know what book 1 was, let alone own it. So I got book 1 and I'm going to start with it. And it's something about, I think it has something to do with striated society. Some folks have power, some folks don't have power. And maybe werewolves? I don't really know. I don't know. From Blood and Ash. But we're going to jump into this. And finally, y'all, we're going to Caraval. I'm going to call it Caraval, even if in the book it explains that's not the definition or the pronunciation. Here's why. And I'm going to say this once, and this is the only time I'm going to say this. I mix up Caraval and Carnival, which, you know, is like the big throwdown in Rio. I think if I change the vowel sound in my head, I might be able to keep them separate so that I can read Caraval and call it Caraval and not mix it up with that other name. And I'm not going to keep saying that other name because then it's going to keep getting back in my brain and mixing me up. My friend Allie did read this, loves it, loves Stephanie Garber. I think my friend Allie took her daughter to meet Stephanie Garber. If it wasn't Stephanie Garber, it was another one of her daughters. No, I don't think it was Stephanie Garber now that I think of it. But they read it, they loved it. I trust them. I'm going to read it. I know I'm going to love it. I know the writing is going to be fantastic. You know how there are just some people that you know you can trust? Like when they like something, you know certain things are going to be true of it. I know that if Allie loved this book, the writing is beautiful. There's probably beautiful scenery, like beautiful sets described, if that makes any sense. Like it's almost to the point of being lyrical to where you can see what they're explaining or describing to you. And there's going to be something heartbreaking about it. Don't know what it's going to be. Don't know if it's actually going to break our hearts, but there will be something heartbreaking about it. That's my prediction. So, Caraval. I did have to look to make sure I said the right thing. This is the last book on my spring into summer TBR. And obviously, y'all, in no particular order, and I might be adding some more stuff into these. I will definitely be adding in the Emily Henry book the minute it drops. So I'll probably finish whatever I'm on when I'm going to probably try to like schedule so that I'm not reading something when it comes out so that I can start it the day it becomes available. But I'm going to read that. I'm going to read the Butcher and Blackbird book, Leather and Lark, because y'all. So that's what I'm going to be reading. Let me know in the comments, what do you know about any of these? Even if you warn me off of any of these, I'm probably still going to read them. Unless you got a really good warning. But I think that at least most of these have come somewhat highly recommended. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about these choices? What are you reading? What are your spring and summer looking like for reading? Let us know in the comments. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, we are most definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos at the beginning of every week with some book videos sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.